The longest time I went thinking Max Payne was a good movie. And watching it again, I don't know why I thought that, I guess. I'm confused with myself. And like I don't know. Maybe I was like back when I played the game a lot, maybe I was just super high on the game, so when I saw the movie, I kind of projected what happened in the game onto the movie and it made me feel like it was cooler than it was. I don't know what I was doing, but watching the movie again, it's kind of like this actually isn't that good. Like, ouch, it kind of hurts to watch this. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think it just moves a little slow, and the movie doesn't really pick up until like you get to the freaking shootouts. And in the game, you are constantly in shootouts. It's what makes it cool and interesting. And you're like going along, you're solving a case as you go. It's just, it's fun that way. Just like take out these freaking losers. Watch them fly across the room when you hit them once. Like, that's cool. And they don't show anything like that till you're like 45 minutes in, and it's like this doesn't even feel like Max Payne right now. Speaking of not feeling like Max Payne, why is Mark Wahlberg Max Payne? Why? Like, I think occasionally he can kind of find that icy edge that just meets with the like the depression and like no f's given kind of Max Payne that you find in the game. But I think just Mark Wahlberg himself just kind of pokes out every so often, like, "Hi, I'm still Mark Wahlberg," in a leather jacket and a shotgun. Ooh, I'm angry. Like it's just not the same, buddy. It's not the same. I just don't know. It just I think they kind of assume if you're watching the movie, you already know things about what's going on, so they don't really take any time to explain. They don't take any time to lay out the case. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about, like very simply put, Max Payne is a cop. His wife and kid were killed. Um, they were murdered, and he's got to figure out who did it, essentially. And that's what the movie's about. But they don't really like every character you meet. They kind of assume you already know who they are and what they're up to, and you don't exactly. Not every time, and they just kind of know people, and you're just supposed to follow along like you know what's going on. But it's like I don't, there's no build up. There's no relationships. They're already all pre-established pretty much, so you don't really have any character arcs for anybody going on. So it's on the weaker side. But I mean, what can I say? I mean, I don't know. Video game movies just never perform very well. Almost every time they just end up sucking somehow. But this movie is still cinematically pretty. They are stylish and they find ways to make things look cool, like the snow and the cold, dreary element that they create in the movie. I think is done very well. I think that was cool. But just a lot of stale emotion. Just the thing about the game is it took you deep in there, man. You were right there with Max. You were feeling the pain as it came, and you were trying to solve the case. You were deeply invested, and it was a lot of him just kind of leading you down that path with his character. Like when you got Mark Wahlberg just yelling at people, it's kind of like I don't feel as connected to Max. I don't feel like we're going on the journey with him. We're just kind of watching him do stuff, and it's just not the same. It's not the same, man. So it really like if you're gonna do it that way, make the whole movie freaking shootouts, man. Just do that. And they didn't even do that. They just kind of I don't know. So I mean, the plot ends up linking the Max Payne's wife's work back to the murder. Like she was working on a project of some kind of super serum that turned people into super soldiers, kind of like freaking Captain America, but it didn't really work very much. Made people crazy, and she tried to blow the whistle, and then of course, etc., etc. And Max Payne finally figured out that's what's going on, and whatever. And that's when once all that's figured out, 45 to 50 minutes later, then the shootouts happen, and then we see people flying across the room and whatever. I don't know. And Max Payne, like there are some good scenes, okay? It's not I don't consider it not worth watching. I remember there being parts that I liked, but it's Max Payne. The whole point is to make him suffer, and we get to suffer with him because we just want to see what happens. They didn't really do that, and like that's how the movie could have been better. It's just like shootouts, freaking 10-minute intervals, just all shootouts. That's how you make it better. You know, if you're not gonna bother to write a good plot, just and good dialogue, anything, good character arcs. If you're not gonna do any of that, just give us some shootouts then. You know, um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still kind of like it. Doesn't really like. What do you expect? I suppose you can never. I mean, the third game already looks like a movie, so do you really need that? They tried to set it up for a sequel as well, but whatever. Max Payne came out in 2008. If you want just an action flick to kind of be playing in the background, go ahead, man. I still own it. It was cheap, and I like action movies. Some of it was good, so it's like me. That's how I feel. So